The verdict echoed through the crystalline halls of the Galactic Council's Supreme Chamber like a death knell. High Arbiter Kelthane's voice, amplified through bioacoustic resonators, carried the weight of cosmic authority as she pronounced humanity's fate. By unanimous decision of the 743 member species, humanity is hereby banished from all galactic territories. They shall be confined to their solar system, forbidden from expanding beyond the heliopause, effective immediately. Ambassador David Morrison stood alone at the defendant's podium, his shoulders straight despite the crushing weight of the decision. Behind him, the holographic evidence of humanity's alleged crimes flickered in accusatory light. Unauthorized terraforming of Kepler 442b, violation of the non-interference directive on 17 primitive worlds, and the destruction of a Zephyrian mining facility during what humans called a rescue operation. The species demonstrates an alarming tendency toward chaos and violence, continued Arbiter Kelthane, her 6 eyes fixed on Morrison with disdain. Their expansion threatens the stability we have maintained for 12 millennia. The quarantine barrier will be established within one standard cycle. Morrison's jaw tightened, but he maintained diplomatic composure. Honored arbiters, humanity requests a final statement. Granted. 1 solar minute. You judge us for our imperfections, Morrison began, his voice carrying across the vast chamber. You fear our passion, our refusal to accept injustice, our drive to explore and grow. Today you cage us, believing walls can contain what you call our chaos. But you forget something crucial about humanity: we have never been stopped by impossible odds. The chamber fell silent, except for the subtle harmonics of the translation matrix, processing his words into 700 different languages and communication forms. When you come seeking our aid, and you will remember this moment. Remember that you chose isolation over cooperation, fear over understanding. Dr. Sarah Chen watched the quantum barrier materialize around the solar system's edge from her observation deck on Lunar Station. The shimmering energy field stretched across space like an aurora, beautiful and terrible in its finality. Every human vessel attempting to cross it would be instantly vaporized. They were alone. How long do you think it will take them to realize their mistake? Asked Dr. Yuki Tanaka, her colleague and former rival in the terraforming program. Sarah's fingers traced calculations on her tablet. Based on current galactic political tensions, I give it 50 years, maybe 75 if they're lucky. And how long will it take us to be ready? Sarah smiled grimly. Less time than that. The first decade of isolation was brutal. Trade routes that had sustained human colonies collapsed overnight. Advanced technologies requiring rare galactic materials became impossible to maintain. But humanity adapted, as they always had, through innovation born from desperation. Dr. Marcus Webb's breakthrough came during year 8 of the quarantine. While attempting to synthesize gallium arsenide semiconductors from asteroid mining operations, his team accidentally created something unprecedented: programmable matter that could restructure itself at the molecular level. They called it adaptive material, but the implications went far beyond simple construction applications. It's not just responsive to our commands, Webb explained to the emergency session of Earth's United Science Council. It learns. It evolves. It's almost as if we've created matter with its own intelligence. Within 15 years, human technology had diverged completely from galactic norms. Ships constructed from adaptive materials could repair themselves, modify their configurations mid-flight, and even reproduce given sufficient raw materials. Cities grown rather than built stretched across Mars and Europa, their living walls breathing and adapting to their inhabitants' needs. Captain Elena Rodriguez commanded humanity's first post-quarantine exploration vessel, though it bore little resemblance to the metal ships of their past. The Prometheus I was a living entity, its biomechanical hull pulsing with synthetic neural networks that processed information faster than any galactic quantum computer. Barrier penetration in 30 seconds announced the ship's AI consciousness, its voice carrying overtones of excitement that were disturbingly human. All systems adapting to extrasolar conditions. Elena watched the quarantine field part before them like water, her ship's adaptive hull absorbing and redirecting the barrier's energy rather than being destroyed by it. 47 years of isolation had ended not with permission, but with transcendence. High Arbiter Kelthane's successor, Morvac the Eternal, received the reports with growing unease. Human vessels had appeared simultaneously in 57 different star systems. They offered no threats, made no demands, they simply established themselves on dead worlds and began the impossible task of bringing them to life. Their technology is beyond our understanding, reported Intelligence Director Zix-9, his tentacles writhing with agitation. They don't terraform worlds, they communicate with them. The planets themselves seem to respond to their presence, altering atmospheric composition and geological structures without any visible intervention. Impossible. Morvac's crystalline form rang with harmonic disbelief. Matter cannot be convinced to alter its fundamental properties through mere communication. Yet, we observe it happening. Furthermore, their ships appear to be alive. They reproduce, they adapt, they share information across vast distances instantaneously. We may have severely underestimated this species. The first formal contact came when the Andromedans invaded the Vega sector. Their crystalline warforms had swept through 6 systems in as many days, overwhelming galactic defense forces with weapons that converted matter directly into energy. The Council's desperate calls for assistance went unanswered by member species, too terrified to engage such overwhelming power. Then humanity arrived. Elena Rodriguez stood on the bridge of the Prometheus II as her fleet of 12 bioships entered the Vega system. The Andromedan force outnumbered them 300 to 1, their crystalline dreadnoughts bristling with reality-altering weaponry. Admiral Rodriguez came the transmission from the Galactic Command ship, its alien harmonics heavy with desperation. We did not request human intervention in this matter. No, Elena replied simply, but the people of Vega Prime did. We heard their call. The battle lasted 18 minutes. Human ships didn't fight the Andromedan weapons, they absorbed them, learned from them, and turned the converted energy into something new. Matter-energy conversion beams became tools of creation rather than destruction, building defensive barriers that protected fleeing civilians while simultaneously healing the damaged worlds below. When the Andromedans finally retreated, their force decimated not by destruction, but by conversion, their own weapons turned into instruments of their defeat, the galaxy watched in stunned silence. President Williams addressed the emergency session of the Galactic Council from the chambers of New Geneva Station, orbiting the recently healed world of Vega Prime. Her image projected across the vast assembly hall where, 50 years earlier, humanity had been cast out. "Honored delegates," she began, her voice carrying the quiet confidence of a species that had transcended its limitations. Humanity bears no grudge for past decisions. We understand fear. We understand the desire for stability. But we have learned something during our isolation that perhaps the galaxy has forgotten. She paused, letting her words register through the translation matrix. True strength comes not from controlling change, but from embracing it. Not from preventing chaos, but from finding harmony within it. We offer our hand in friendship to any who would take it, and our protection to any who need it, regardless of their past decisions. High Arbiter Morvac's crystalline form shimmered as he processed the implications. What do you ask in return? Nothing that you are not freely willing to give. We have learned to thrive in isolation. We no longer need your approval to exist. Dr. Sarah Chen, now elderly but still sharp, watched the proceedings from her laboratory on Europa. Through her viewport, she could see the living cities of her people growing across the ice moon's surface, their bioluminescent walls pulsing with the rhythm of a species that had learned to make life flourish anywhere. Her tablet chimed with a message from the Galactic Council, a formal request for humanitarian aid in 17 different crisis zones, accompanied by an official rescission of humanity's banishment. She smiled and deleted the message without reading the details. Humanity would help, of course. They always did. But not because the Council had finally granted them permission.